What's up guys, it's Punchy, and today we gotta talk about the Dormant Splinter secret weapon alongside a showcase on some of its awakened variants. If you haven't been around recently in the Deepwoken community, everyone has been going crazy about this insane legendary relic tier weapon, and let's talk about it. This weapon is called the Dormant Splinter, and it's absolutely ridiculous when it comes to rarity and overall weapon stats. To first obtain the base weapon, you'll have to farm in the Void Sea doing events, ferryman, or even dungeons around the map, but keep in mind that this thing is just insanely impossible to farm for. Seriously, it's taken people over a week just to get one themselves, and I think it's honestly a terrible obtainment method, but as of right now it is what it is, and it's tied to RNG. With this Dormant Splinter, after we get it, this is the baseline unawakened option that starts off extremely weak and weird, but eventually evolves with a few additional steps. At a first glance, this thing has a rocky, Umbrite, unrefined appearance that's jagged and cracked since it's not at its full power. Additionally, the weapon emits a pulsing heartbeat sound from the model itself, which adds to the cool factor of this weapon, so that's plus aura if you ask me. The basic M1 attacks don't do anything special, so it's essentially a normal sword. Also, the critical attack for this weapon doesn't do much, channeling the weapon and doing nothing, but this should change as we awaken. Anyway, the truly strange part about this weapon comes into play when its stats are mentioned. To equip this option, you only need 5 medium and power level 3, so that's really weird. Its stats are also underwhelming as it deals almost no damage and swings like a normal weapon. It's supposed to be intentionally weak, so it needs to be upgraded with a few different steps. Now, to upgrade this weapon, we have to make our way down into the depths of layer 1 to explore the Cold Forge. All we gotta do is slip through the cracks on the bridge which leads to Castle Light, head across the parkour into some icy caverns, and break through into the forge. There's a few different things down in the Cold Forge, but the main idea inside this area is to upgrade the Dormant Splinter vessel that's unawakened. While standing in this area and opening our crafting menu, you should see symbols that indicate that you are interacting with the Cold Forge, and you'll get a special craft. Found in a new book as well, the Cold Hearts Journal, there seems to be additional recipes and clues to investigate as the game evolves if you're trying to craft this weapon into something else. Anyway, one of the many paths for this weapon, in the future they'll be adding more, is the Fondant Splinter. Teased in the update and provided by the community, there's a troll recipe with this weapon called the Fondant Splinter. To obtain this weapon, you can combine cake plus a splinter plus a sword at the Cold Forge to collect this version. As shown right here, this is a cake variant of the splinter that absorbs your precious resources and gives you a treat. Everything about this weapon stays relatively similar to the gameplay standard, but there is a new critical. Using the crit with the Fondant Splinter allows the user to bite into the cake and heal a set amount on a cooldown. This is actually kinda insane and powerful, but it is a troll variant of the weapon. Now, moving on to one of the real versions of the Awakened Splinter. Alright, let's talk about the Umbrite Witherblade. This can be crafted using 1 Dormant Spindle, 1 Razor's Cutlass, and 10 Umbrite. And this is actually godly. Taking a look at the design, it's absolutely insane with markings, spikes, jagged ridges, and everything that makes the Razor Cutlass clean and further. The whispering and sound effects have been boosted heavily, and it has some new particles emitting from the weapon. Well, let's talk about the stats. Everything about this weapon is pretty normal, right? But the medium scaling is 14. That is unheard of in this game, and that means it's gonna do insane damage. Like, it is not okay. In combat, this weapon has new, specially animated M1s with a new swing trail and stances for one-handed and two-handed. Also, when landing hits with the M1, this thing withers a lot of HP, which is just insane. It doesn't even subtract the HP, it straight up withers it entirely. Additionally, with the critical, we gain a multi-slash flurry of attacks that directly withers health, and that's downright broken. Take a look at how much I'm losing because it's nutty. This thing is going to be overpowered and broken, and with that, that's all for the Umbrite Witherblade. It was absolutely ridiculous to farm for, but now it's just busted and it will be fun to use. And for right now, I believe that's all there is for the current Splinter outcomes. I think in the future, there's going to be multiple ways to obtain the Splinter itself and craft with it, but as of right now, these are the 2 available. I think they're pretty cool and fun to use. And with that, that's the Dormant Splinter, at least a few of the upgraded variants. In my opinion, the entire process is really interesting and new when it comes to Deepwoken secret content, but there are a few things that I really dislike about how this was handled. First of all, I think secret content should only stand alongside the main content without distracting from any of that main content itself. itself. It's honestly fine if secret content and main content interact and tie together, but reducing an entire week's update content to something obscure and RNG based entirely isn't something I can stand behind. It's gotta be stated that this farm for the original Dormant Splinter is one of the most time consuming and horrible things in the entire game. It's taken people over a week to sometimes get one of these to drop, and cutting off flexible content like this because of RNG is honestly just unfortunate. This is what I dislike about this RNG tied option being pushed into the main content with that cake recipe thing, and it just doesn't really sit right with me. Overall though, this sort of weapon and secret content is cool and healthy for the game, but the way it was presented as well as the timing was a masterclass blunder in my opinion. Anyway, leave your thoughts down below about this quest, weapon, and even the recipes you want to try, because I'll tell the devs. Thank you so much to all of my loyal fans and members who do support my channel, and if you like what I do, feel free to join up down below for even more content. As always, thank you again, and make sure to like and subscribe. I'm shooting for 105k subs, and let's hit that goal. Again, if you want to see even more exclusive update content, I'm that guy. So have a good one, it's punch-in time.